Hi, everybody. This is Saad. First, a happy Thanksgiving Day to all my fellow Canadians. Much to be thankful for. Take a minute to feel the gratitude of life. We all have issues that we have to contend with, but it's always important to step back and appreciate all that one has. So, I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about a new law that Governor Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, is now passing in California that would require retail stores to set up uh, gender neutral aisles for toys. Of course, the idea being that then this won't create gender stereotyping that would otherwise occur, apparently, because boys are channeled to prefer certain toys and girls are channeled to prefer other toys. This, of course, smacks straight into my prophetic attempts from many years ago to build a nomological network of cumulative evidence to demonstrate that the sex specificity of toy preferences are very much rooted in our biology. And the reason why I had chosen toy preferences many years ago, by the way, I covered this point in the Saad Truth 46 going back to 2015. I then, in 2017, published a sole authored paper in one of the most prestigious journals in the marketing discipline. It's called Journal of Marketing Research. It's a great journal that straddles both quantitative marketing and behavioral marketing. So it's a combination of psychologists, behavioral scientists, but also mathematical modelers who study marketing phenomena. And in that journal, I was talking about the epistemology of evolutionary psychology, of which one important tool is this building of nomological networks of cumulative evidence, where you get data across cultures, across time periods, across disciplines, across methodologies, across frameworks, across animals, all of which demonstrate the veracity of the position that you are arguing for, in this case, the sex specificity of toy preferences. And if you're able to build such a network, then it becomes incontestable that your position is the vertical one. And I also, in chapter 7 of the Parasitic Mind, have a whole chapter dedicated to the building of nomological networks of cumulative evidence. So when I saw today that Gavin Newsom was perfectly violating everything that I've written about when it comes to this issue, I thought, well, let me do a Sad Truth clip. Why is it that he does this? Well, that's precisely the point of the parasitic mind, because he's been infected with a bunch of idea pathogens, all of which make him think that he's on the right side of the issue, right? So biophobia, the fear of using biology to explain human phenomena, he's parasitized by this mind virus, right? No, there are no biological differences between little boys and little girls. They should be indistinguishable. So that's one. He is also parasitized by social constructivism, which is we are born empty slates, tabula rasa, and it's only socialization that subsequently makes us who we are. And therefore, if we can stop the sex specificity, sexist stereotypes of toy preferences, then little girls can grow up to be Navy fighter pilots, because the only reason they're not is because they played with pink dolls. Now, of course, the level of stupidity, the level of denial of human nature, the level of denial of sexual dimorphism in a sexually reproducing species is akin to other forms of science denialism, lysenkoism in the former Soviet Union. That's precisely why I discussed this in chapter 6 of the Parasitic Mind, where I'm talking about ostrich parasitic syndrome. Well, one manifestation of ostrich parasitic syndrome is science denialism, right? Little boys and little girls are indistinguishable creatures, and therefore they have indistinguishable a priori preferences. And therefore, if they exhibit any preferences, it can't be because they're manifesting their sex-specific preferences. It must be because the patriarchy. And therefore, if we now impose a law that says retail stores must create a gender-neutral world, then at least we eradicate sex differences, and we create the perfect utopian gender-neutral society. Look, most of the great disasters of human history stem from one or more ideologues rejecting fundamental tenets of human nature and therefore building a political system, an economic system, an eradication system, or in more innocuous cases, although they're not very innocuous because the denial of human nature always ends up leading to disastrous consequences. But in the innocuous cases of, oh, but it's okay, let's just have gender neutral toy aisles. What's the problem with that? Well, the problem with that is that it doesn't end there, right? The problem with that is that each of these idea pathogens that I discuss in the Parasitic Mind have profound consequences in our academic environment, in journalism, in politics, in economics, in Hollywood, in popular culture. As I said few days ago on my inaugural appearance on Tucker Carlson, it eventually infects every nook and cranny of society. But I want to talk also about another point. Many of you know that I strongly support a general framework of libertarianism, right? The government should not be in the business of giving me a ticket because I crossed the street, even though it's in a very residential area, but the sign did not say that I was allowed to cross, and therefore the police woman who is younger than some of my socks can come and give me a ticket because, I didn't abide by the traffic sign. That's an overreach of the government. Well, do you think it's an overreach when the government is saying that we are now going to mandate what companies do in terms of the layout of merchandise inside the store? As a consumer psychologist, as an evolutionary psychologist, do you think that I support such an idea? It is so anti-human nature. It is so anti-science. Nothing could be more scientific than the nomological network that I have built, demonstrating in every possible way that little boys and little girls exhibit sex-specific toy preferences. Other species exhibit sex-specific toy preferences that are the same as those of human infants. Yet, Gavin Newsom doesn't worry about the crumbling infrastructure of California. He doesn't worry about the homelessness. He doesn't worry about the mental health issues of the homelessness. He doesn't worry about the fentanyl tsunami coming into California. He doesn't worry about the rising crime issues because those are simply intractable problems that are probably due to Trump. But he is woke, therefore he is going to sink his teeth into something that is really important, like mandating what retail stores do within their aisles. That's what happens when you are parasitized by ideology. You erect or enact laws that are suboptimal, inefficient, dictatorial, authoritarian, irrational. So the work that I do is not because I'm just trying to do fancy schmancy science. That is, it can't be any more serious than that. The consequences of having your elected political leaders operating using a framework of understanding human nature that is fully decoupled from reality is not a good thing. Ask Lysenko in the Soviet Union. Take care, everybody. If you sit quietly, it's only going to get worse. Activate your inner honey badger. Cheers, everybody.